I came up with what I thought was a foolproof plan. This is one that's bringing back a little bit of cringe. So we were always trying to out-weird each other. Thank God there were no bugs. It's really a lot. I just have to put out there that it's really a lot. Obviously. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you about my most embarrassing middle school stories and memories. It's gonna kind of be a mix of just embarrassing situations that I got myself in and stupid things that I used to do that I thought were fine and normal, and it's just gonna be really great. Seriously though, I love being able to tell these stories and I hope that they can make you either cringe or laugh with me. So I'm gonna start out with a few of my really awkward, embarrassing stories about boys when I was in middle school. And let me just tell you a little bit about my attitude with boys as a whole, because I feel like that's important going into this to understand. So I always had lots of crushes on boys when I was younger. I was one of those people who I would get bored if I didn't have a crush on somebody at that time, and often I would double or triple up, etc. I would often just pile it on and I'd have a crush on between 1 and 4 boys at a time at least. And I also would get kind of bored of people quickly. I know it might sound terrible, but I would get sick of the boys that I had a crush on, so I would cycle through this kind of situation with having a crush on at least one person at a time, and I would cycle through them every few weeks. So I would be bored out of my mind if I did not have enough boys to give my attention to. And the thing that really gets me now is I always had the most bizarre imaginings. I thought the strangest things would be attractive to them. Along with always having such a weird idea of what would get boys' attention, I was already pretty weird and kind of, a little bit creepy, and it just made for the strangest combination. And even aside from trying to get attention from boys, I would just do strange things and not realize that they weren't normal, which you'll hear more about after we're done with the boy stories. But just this combination was terrible. My first one is really crazy, and I am just trusting you guys. I think that I've told not even that many of the people that I'm actually friends with, so this is a big privilege that you're getting to hear this amazing story. It's really a lot. I just have to put out there that it's really a lot. Please just keep in mind that I know it's crazy when you're hearing it, and try to judge me a little bit less harshly. Okay, so my best friend all through middle school, we're gonna call her Natalie. She was just as strange as me, and I know that anybody who knew us during that time will know exactly who I'm talking about. So the thing about our friendship, we had a really good friendship, but we also sometimes had a little bit of a competitive friendship in the sense of who can be more weird. So we were always trying to out-weird each other. So just keep that in mind, that definitely influenced this, and just go easy on me when you hear this next part. So it was after school, and Natalie and I were out on a walk, which we did a lot. We would just kind of walk around the neighborhood, and we came across a dead mouse. And to be fair, when we first saw it, you couldn't tell if it was dead or not, really, necessarily. It was dead. We knew it was dead. But we both were pick it up, you pick it up. And I don't know, we just were doing that thing that kids do sometimes where they dare each other to do stupid things. And I wanted to be the braver, more edgy one, so I picked up the dead mouse. And when I picked it up, thank God there were no bugs, because I don't think I would have been able to handle that. But this poor little dead mouse was bleeding, and I picked it up anyway. There definitely was a big part of me that was grossed out that I was picking up this dead animal and it was bleeding on me. But I really wanted to be the cooler one. I wanted to be the edgier one. I picked it up anyway. I acted like it didn't even faze me. I sat there holding a dead mouse with blood getting on my hands. So I know that that was already a lot, but it gets worse, because don't forget that these are my stories about boys that I had crushes on. So one of the many boys that I had a crush on during this time kind of lived near me, and he was near where Natalia and I had been walking when we found this mouse. And he and I would hang out together only a few times. He was also on my bus, and I had a pretty big crush on him, and I came up with what I thought was a foolproof plan. I thought,
I've got it. I will go to this boy's house with blood on my hands, and I will ask him to use his sink to wash off my hands, and he will think that I am so cool and mysterious, and he'll think that I am just amazing. He'll be like, who is this wonderful girl with blood on her hands?
So Natalie was
are you sure you want to go to his house right now with blood on your hands? And I was like, yeah, definitely.
So she reluctantly follows me there, and I knock on his door, and he answers the door. And as soon as he answered the door, It was just so clear, like my stomach dropped because of what a gross miscalculation I had made about what his reaction would be, obviously. And he just opened the door and looked at me with absolute horror and said,
"Is that blood?"
And would, before I could even answer, shut the door on my face. We were never friends again after that. We did not end up going out at all. Okay, I definitely have a lot more boy stories to tell, but I can't think of all of them right this second, so I'm just gonna tell you one more. It's more of a, like, what did I think would happen type of thing. There was a boy who I had a crush on that would give me a piece of gum, and it was like the 5 gum with like the little metallic wrapper. And I thought that a good idea would be to save every wrapper he ever gave me, not because I actually wanted them, but because one day I would orchestrate him finding all of them. He would realize I had a crush on him, which would immediately mean that we would be going out. I was just too shy to tell him myself, but if he realized I had a crush on him because he found all of these wrappers of 5 gum, then we would be dating. Alright, so we were pretty good friends, and he was giving me this gum regularly, and it's a few months later, after I had decided that I had a crush on him and started saving all these gum wrappers. I had them all at my house, and like I said, my whole plan with them was that I was gonna have him find them. So he was coming over to my house one day, and I was so excited. I thought,
oh, I've got it. Like, this is the opportunity. This is it. I'm planning it. I'm doing it. I'm gonna have him find my wrappers, and then he'll know that I have a crush on him.
And I don't know why it didn't occur to me that that wouldn't even be a normal thing to do if you had a crush on somebody. Because my whole thing was, this will be a sign to him that I have a crush on him. And I don't know why it did not occur to me that that's not what normal people who have a crush on someone do. They have every gum wrapper that they ever give them. That's not it. That's not like the universal symbol for having a crush on someone. But I thought it was a good idea. So he came over my house, and I had like strategically placed this whole box of gum wrappers. I think I left it like on my bed with it like open and like a couple of wrappers out or something like that. And he came into my room, and he looked at it, and he said,
"What's that?"
And I, at first, thought my plan was still gonna work. And so I was kind of like being like coy, and I was like,
oh, I don't know. Do you recognize them? Do you recognize all the wrappers you've been getting me?
and he just looked at me, and he was like,
"That's really weird. That's really creepy. That's really creepy. You saved them all?"
and this is when, again, like when the other boy had opened the door and I realized that that was not the correct approach, it was like that, where suddenly I realized, oh no, this wasn't the way to go. Yeah, he and I didn't end up dating either. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into some more general stories, but don't worry, they are just as unique and incredible. Do you guys remember something called booing people? It was like around Halloween, you would get a note on your doorstep, and it was attached to a bag of candy, and the note would say, "You've been booed, you have to pass this on to 5 of your friends." And it was basically like you ding dong ditch them and then run away, and there's candy on their doorstep. So it was kind of like a cross between like a chain email and ding dong ditch. And when I first got booed, I loved it. I had never experienced that before. I went to a private school all up until I was in 6th grade. So I hadn't like had all these trends and stuff, and it was all very confusing to me and very exciting. And for all of like getting booed, I didn't really care about the candy part. I just thought it was so cool that you would sneak up to these people's houses and like leave them this little surprise thing, and then like got them, they have to go out and do it. So when I got this like "you've been booed" thing, I lost it. Like, not only did I pass it on to like 10 people because I was so excited, but I thought to myself, I have the best idea. I am gonna start this at school with no candy, just with a piece of paper. And I'm gonna put it in people's lockers, and it will say, "You've been locker slammed." You've been locker slammed. You have to pass this on to 5 people, and you have to sneak it in their locker without getting caught. And I just thought I was gonna be such a trendsetter. I thought that people were gonna think it was the coolest thing, and I was gonna start this huge trend at school, and it was gonna be amazing in my head. So I print out my pages of the locker slam. I print out 5 of them because you have to pass it on to 5 people. And I put it in 4 random lockers and the locker of one boy that I was friends with. And I snuck out in between classes to do it. I was so stealthy, I was so sneaky, I was so proud of myself for sneaking them into all these lockers without anybody seeing me. And then I just sat back and waited for Locker Slam to start. I couldn't wait to get something back. I thought everybody would be talking about it and how cool it was. I was pumped. And the boy who I put it in the locker of, like, we were friendly, but he wasn't like my best friend, which I thought would make it like so sneaky, be harder to link back to me. And no one would know I was the mastermind behind it. So it was the same day, later that day. Locker Slam hasn't taken off as quickly as I thought that it would. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it, but I'm still waiting. I figured, you know, they haven't gotten a chance to pass on their people. And the boy whose locker that I knew, the boy came up to me and he was holding his Locker Slam paper and he was like,
"Why did you put this in my locker?"
My stomach like sank, but I was like, there's no way that he knows it was me. He's just guessing. Like, how could he know? So I was like,
I have no idea what you're talking about. What is that? I mean, it looks super cool. It looks like a cool new trend, but what is it? I haven't seen it before.
and he was just like deadpan and just really didn't understand why I had done this. And he was just like,
"Everyone saw you put all these papers in people's lockers. Why?"
and I just died and it just spread throughout my middle school. Everybody was like,
I don't know why she did this, but she put these papers in our locker.
oh, here's another one. I remember that I got, this is really a throwback to 2007 when I was in middle school, but I got like a jean jacket purse. But honestly, they might not have been cool then. I would have had no idea. But I got a jean jacket purse, like a jean purse, a jerse, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool. I thought it was so fashionable, and I thought that my really cool jean purse probably was scoring me some fashion points. So I carried it around with me into all of my classes. That was already like weird enough. And the thing is, other people commented on it and were like,
Why are you carrying a purse with you everywhere?
because this was middle school and everybody was just carrying like their binder. And I was going in there with my little jean purse and I just thought it was so cool. But I was so embarrassed and I was never confident in the weird things that I was doing. And I was like,
My mom said that I have to.
I blamed it on my mom. And I was like,
My mom said I have to carry this jean purse so I can prove that I won't lose my cell phone.
and obviously nobody believed me. But the thing is that like a few days later, after I started carrying this purse around, this one girl came up to me and she was like,
Are you carrying that purse around because you have your period?
I was like,
What?
and I had no idea why she would think that. And she was like,
Oh, there was blood on a chair in one of the classes and everybody thinks it's probably you because you just started carrying this purse around.
and I died and I didn't know what to do because I was like,
If I stop carrying the purse now, then everybody will think I was just carrying it because I was on my period.
so I carried that purse like for like 6 months straight just to make sure nobody thought that I was carrying it because I was on my period. Oh my god, this one is so self-tanner is something I have a complicated relationship with based on the story that I'm about to tell you. And I do still use it. I tend to use the Saint Tropez, like the foaming one, and I'm really careful with it, and I use like a mitt and everything if I need to be tanner than I am for something. Or if it's in winter and I'm gonna be like not wearing, you know, pants or something. But in middle school, I discovered self-tanner. And by discovered, I mean I literally came across like in my mom's cupboard like a Jergens tanner. And I squirted it out and I put it all over myself. And I think that I put it on like several times because I kept, you know, how you're supposed to like wait for it to build up and you're supposed to do it over a while. I kept being like, well, I can't see a difference. So I just kept putting it on like the same night. I also didn't grasp that if you are gonna put on a self-tanner like with your hands, not only is that a horrible idea, but also if you are gonna, you need to wash your hands right away after. So I didn't do that either. And the amazing thing is that it was winter, so it's not like you could see the whole mess of the rest of my body, which was completely streaked and orange. But luckily, I had put it on my face over and over. So my face the next morning was bright orange and streaked. And my hands, like the palms of my hands, were completely orange. I did not want to go to school, obviously, but I had to. Especially because my mom was like, you made this mess. Nobody even gave you permission to use my tanner. Like, what are you doing? Everybody was like,
What happened to you?
and one girl was nice enough to be like,
Could you go on vacation?
like, it in between the 2 days. She was like,
Did you go on vacation last night?
and I was so embarrassed. Obviously, I wasn't gonna be like,
Oh, I didn't know how to use self-tanner.
so I told everyone that my mom had switched the spot that my moisturizer went. So when I reached for my moisturizer, I grabbed the self-tanner and put it on my face. And I was like,
Yeah, honest mistake, you know, it was right where my moisturizer went. I wasn't trying to do this, I would never use self-tanner.
and I thought that that was a good cover story. Okay, that is all for this video. I have so many more, and I definitely have a ton of high school stories to share with you. Like, as I was trying to think of my middle school stories, I just kept thinking of even cringier high school stories. Please make me feel less alone and tell me something embarrassing that you used to do in middle school or an embarrassing story that you have. I hope I'm not the only person who was so weird. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked hearing about these incredible times, and be sure to subscribe. I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.